They came out of the depths like great sea monsters, bred to do just one thing: kill. They hunted in wolf packs, killed ship after ship, until the North Atlantic ran red with blood and black with oil. Even if tankers made it through the U-boat's ring of fire, bombers of the German Luftwaffe killed the ships at the docks, just as the Luftwaffe had killed the British people in their cities for 3 long, devastating years. Hitler wanted to crush Britain as he had crushed France and all of Europe. If he could choke off Britain's supply of oil, it could no longer make fuel for its Spitfires. Britain's only hope to keep the Luftwaffe from turning its homeland into the cratered surface of the moon. Without oil, not only would Britain's Royal Air Force be crippled, but also its Navy. Hitler could launch what had been in the works for years: Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of Britain. World War II could have been lost right then in 1943 if oil shortages made Britain fall. But that was true for every nation. Nothing ran without oil. It was lubricants and fuels, but also the toluene for the TNT that went into the bombs, artillery shells, and the depth charges. Oil was the life's blood of the war machine. But oil also warmed and illuminated hospitals, heated instrument sterilizers, refrigerated life-saving plasma, and ran water purification systems. So oil was also heat and light and comfort and mercy. World War II was a war for oil. No one knew that better than Hitler. That's why he invaded North Africa for the oil fields, there and in the Middle East. Hitler invaded Russia for the same reason: oil fields. Hitler had almost no oil. He only had coal. Massive coal deposits that, through an expensive and time-consuming process called liquefaction, were being refined into synthetic oil. Synthetic oil did not have the octane power of crude oil. So even though the Luftwaffe had inflicted crippling infrastructure damage on Britain's Royal Air Force and had far more aircraft, it couldn't gain air supremacy fueled by 100-octane gas from crude oil. Spitfires outflew German bombers and fighters and shot down enough of them to keep Hitler's Operation Sea Lion at bay. But for how long without enough oil? To tighten his death grip, Hitler sent wolf packs to prowl the east and Gulf coasts of America and destroy any oil tankers headed for Britain. Cape Hatteras became Torpedo Alley. Hundreds of ships were lost, thousands of men killed, and a naval disaster that rivaled Pearl Harbor. Britain's back was against the wall. Philip Southwell set out from London to change that. In a mission to America, a mission so secret that it's still unknown to most people today. Britain owned the largest oil company in the world in 1943, the Anglo-Iranian Company, but it was based in Iran. Most of that oil never made it to Britain now. It got sunk at sea or exploded. Britain had only one oil field operating within its borders, at Ypres, and only since 1939. Run by Dorsey Exploration, Southwell was a managing director there. Southwell met with American officials and oil producers in Washington, D.C. No one was willing to send crews to Britain. The American war effort came first, and as with Britain, that depended on oil, both on the front lines and the home front. But the American drilling equipment that Britain needed so desperately by law could only be sold to American companies. That left Southwell with nothing to take home. Would home even exist in another year? Southwell caught the only flight he could out of Washington, D.C., a Royal Air Force plane to Louisiana. Then he fast-talked his way onto a flight to Dallas. So he pulled every string he could and got his hands on a car. But rationing only allowed him 1 tank of gasoline. He headed for Ardmore, Oklahoma, praying that 1 tank wouldn't leave him stranded on some backcountry road. His entire mission for oil came down to what else? Oil.